Hello, everyone. Good to see you again. Thank you so much for your patience. I am here in a different shirt. Imagine that. So good to have you here. Paul Training, going to dive into Daily Creative Challenge. Actually, our final Daily Creative Challenge for this sprint, shall I call it. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Kind of end on a high note, and it's going to be good. So, new shirt, Rick H. Thanks so much for your message. I read it. Yes. And we're all learning things. It's okay. Keep the chat coming, buddy. Love chatting with you. Frank's celebrating his first full year. Awesome. Cool. Hopefully the audio sounds better as well. And I am in frame and all that good stuff. Trying to make it a beautiful experience for you. And let's dive right in. Switching over. And you can see right here, we have Daily Creative Challenge. Here is the link, as you can see, behance.net/challenge/Photoshop, and you can scroll through all of the various challenges that we have worked on the past 2 weeks. And here we are, down at the bottom. We did some metallic. We did so many things. Musical brushes. Warping and distorting. So we make a magical scene using blend and distorting, by blending and distorting layers. So go ahead and click that getting started. You will actually be able to access that file, as you can see right here. And I can go ahead and download it again, just so we have it. But it has a couple different layers in there. Let's open it up. Hello there. So this is what I have. Our lovely file has multiple layers. We get to bend, warp, and distort, which is my favorite thing to do, is like bending pixels, that sort of immediate gratification. It's just super fun. So we have a couple different images and scenes, and then I'll show you what we have, and I'll show you actually kind of what we're going to do. It's like we have these two sort of guys standing on a rock, looking out over the vast expanse. And I'm sorry my screen is flashing a little bit. And I still can't figure that one out. But we can see we also have fish that I just already cut out for you. And this is something I've done before, but I think this is just really nice and appropriate. We have this lovely whale, right? And then we have another sort of school of fish right in here. And you can see what we're going to do. We even have an old house. So what do these all these things have in common? We're going to do something kind of like this image. So F, right? So I think, I don't know, was this shown at Adobe Max? I don't remember. But this is kind of the idea. And even looking at this, I made this probably a year or so ago. It still needs work, but we're going to just do something fantastical like this. And fun. Pretty common Photoshop technique, you know, to be honest with you, is like, hey, let's put a whale in the sky. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Okay, but it's a good chance to bend some stuff as if they're in water. Yes, so Sam Peterson remembers this challenge as well. Might have varied. Geez, I don't even remember when I didn't even know we did this, to be honest with you. It's been so long ago. But either way, here we are. So I don't know. I didn't think we did this before. Maybe we've done it. Either way, it's been like over a year ago. Who knows how long. But let's dive in. So we have this image. Sometimes you'll get overexposed images. Different things like that. If you ever need an easy button, and I actually have not gone into this at all, but we can go to Camera Raw Filter. So if there's ever an easy button, I'd like to think it's this one right over here. In Camera Raw, we can hit this auto. So rather than worrying about hue, saturation, brightness, contrast, colors, all that stuff, right, we could just hit auto and say, hey, you know what? Do your best guess at tweaking this. And then we can twirl down and we can see it did adjust. It increased the shadows, turned down the highlights, which is it should have. And we can also tweak this as well. So we can kind of adjust the exposure too. Okay, so that's typically your easy button, is just hit auto, and then you can tweak it accordingly. Click OK, and there that is. So, less than a year, Frank's done it. Oh. Frank's done it already. Well, Frank might be an old pro at this. So we definitely didn't do anything like this, like having this person out there. And by the way, you can, like I said, we can pull more elements in. But let's first take this cliff. Let's do a Command J to jump that layer. I don't know if the guy's, I don't know if it's referencing the cliff or his name is Cliff. Either way, what we'll do is we'll do our favorite thing, which is to click right in here, our properties panel, and remove background, right? That's typically what I'll try. In this case, it actually removed everything except for that guy. So that might not work for that image. It might work for this one. Let's try, see what it does here. Remove background. Huh. So again, results may vary. When this happens, so when it removes everything, you can use the Object Selection tool. So go to Object Selection tool, grab the, make sure it's set to lasso and not rectangle, and then we can jump in and just kind of quickly grab this ridge, just like so. Let go. Little bits and bytes of doing their thing, and then it obviously like grabs this roughly. It's not perfect. All right. Ted's all vaccinated? Oh man, that's awesome. So let's take a look at this. Let's zoom in here. Let's grab some more pixels and do this. And then we'll get into the warping and distorting and all that good stuff. I'll use a quick selection tool. Increase that brush size. Grab some more of these pixels, like so. I don't honestly need to be too specific. Let's hold down the Option key to remove from underneath this guy's arm. Add to right down here. If you want to get more technical, use your lasso tool. And in this case, add like so. All right, much better. And I can always tweak this later on. That's the power of Photoshop. Get that right there. And then mask it. There we go. All right, everybody. We have that. We have this separated out because now I want to put the whale in between those two. So here's the whale, like so. In this case, again, what will we do? We'll try remove background. Click. Sure enough, it does a great job there. Did the guy climb up there and just flip-flop? It's like he doesn't even have on shoes. Amazing. Stoney's fully vaccinated as of today. Gonna go see family, run around town, licking doorknobs, drinking out of people's sodas, eating fries off of people's plates, just being a regular bully. No, just joking. Shoving kids into his lockers just because he's vaccinated. You think you're invincible? Okay, I'll stop. All right, let's move me over a little bit. And yeah, you notice already, by the way, we have a little bit of an issue with this. So we are going to do a little bit of color correction, and then we can dive into more of this, okay? So first off, for this whale, let's just convert it to a smart object because that's going to protect us later on, right? There that is. Look at how blue he is compared to this guy. It definitely needs to be a lot warmer, okay? So what would you do? You would probably jump into your adjustment layers. Maybe you'll work on color balance, might be one way to go. So you can go into color balance, maybe make it a little bit more yellow, but make sure it's clipped. Option key, clip. Right now it's just going to affect that, obviously that whale. Okay? So that works. Keep in mind he's going to be back a little bit further. He's a little washed out. We can go to exposure, right? Because it's kind of overexposed back there. So again, if we crank up the exposure, we can see what happens there. We can sort of increase it, work on the offset if we want to, and just make it look like a little bit more washed out. And we still have full control in here, right? I would probably even do a hue and saturation and take that down maybe a touch, right? To, again, just to get it to match. Not to worry too much, like this is all gonna sort of do I'm gonna do a pass on this in general to normalize all the colors. All right, RB's like, don't talk about that stuff. Cool, let's gladly talk about Photoshop. Here's my favorite trick. I can't believe I waited till, challenge number 9 to do this. So this is a lot of stuff we did. Hue, saturation, exposure, color balance. There's another thing we do. In fact, you know what I'll do is I'll add levels in here, right? We'll go levels. Oh, excuse me. I will not do levels. I'll do curves. Curves gives us the power to not only work on the overall brightness and contrast, right? So again, we want the lights a little darker, the darks maybe a little bit brighter, and this works much better than exposure, okay? So that looks pretty good. Okay, I'm actually kind of impressed. But here's another thing you can do. Let me actually just duplicate this because I want to go into this new curves where we can go ahead and control the color. So yeah, I get it. We can go to blues and we could take out the blues this way and still make it a guessing game. But this is what I want to do. If you hold down the Option key and click on auto, that's going to bring up this auto color correction options. Yeah. Yes, Christine, thank you for that note as well. Just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean you're invincible or you can't spread it. You know what? It's like, do what you can. All right, so this is what I love. Rather than making it a guessing game with all those adjustment layers, find dark and light colors. Oh, the shadows. Click right here. My shadows are kind of this blue over here. Oh, hello. Cancel, cancel. Let's make sure this is selected. Option, auto. Okay, find dark and light colors. Shadows. Click down in here, right? Because this whale is going to be kind of in the background. And that's what it does. It sort of makes those shadows that blue color, which is fantastic, right? Don't you love that? By the way, my midtones are brown, right? And again, I can change that to be more of a neutral or a darker. There we go. A little bit more neutral. And then we have highlights where we can add a little bit of yellow. Right? So anyways, I think that's really cool, don't you think? Come on now. That's worth the cost of admission right there. Right? Don't you love that, Michelle? Totally worth the cost of admission. So there we are. We have our whale kind of looking pretty good, all with really just one adjustment layer. So feel free, do what you want. You still have these other layers that you kind of can keep around, but we could see the drastic difference, the before, the after, and then we can adjust. All right, so here's one whale. Oh, maybe this might be the first time I've done this in a daily creative challenge. I think I've done it as part of a master class. So nonetheless, cool whale, rolling on through. We want to do some adjustments to this, right? We want to maybe even have a second whale, by the way. Let's do this. Let's do this. Command J to jump that layer. Guess what? Take both of these, put them in their own folder, their own little layer group. Having a whale of a time today. Cool thing is I can take this curves, rather than duplicating these curves on all these different elements, you could just go ahead and use those curves once on that folder. So right up here, we should call this whale, 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 whale. Right now it's actually affecting not only this whale, but also this one. It's affecting both of them. Okay, so for the second whale, we'll go to transform. Hey, what would you guys do? I don't know what you guys would do. Yeah, thank you, Jan. Good call. Very smart. You could try distort. Okay, that's not going to get you anywhere, right? You could hold down the Option key and kind of distort it like that. But distort doesn't really get us what I want, right? It just kind of puts it in perspective, right? You can right-click and typically get to those same settings as well. So do a Command T. Rather than doing distort, we could go to warp. That seems like a good idea. Warping will allow us to kind of bend this a little bit better. Bop, bend, bend. But not quite what we need, okay? So not bending it the right way, right? We have a humpback whale. That's not what I want. So we'll undo that. We will go into right down here, puppet warp. We want to do a puppet warp on this whale. And let's show the mesh. Here's the beautiful mesh, right? And now we can go ahead and add our pins. Add a pin, add a pin, add a pin, add a pin. Add as many as you want, but now you can go ahead and distort this whale to make it sort of look like it's swimming. And it makes it look like it's a different whale, even though it's the same one. Or I could do something like that. I always kind of bring that up if we want to. But how cool is that? You can turn off the mesh. You could do, let's see if Command H. Command H will actually hide the mesh, but this might work out better. Click OK. There we are. And now we have two whales swimming along in the sky. All right. Warp is Sam's bread and butter. Yeah. So this is where I would use warp typically. I love puppet warp. I'll use, and I know Kyle Webster asked about this, that I'll do warp and then I'll use puppet warp. So if I'm going to use warp, so I have this old house right here. Let's do the same thing really fast because, man, am I losing time. Remove background. Done. Put it in that same folder. Done. Applies those same colors, right? Converting that to a smart object. Putting this old house on this whale. And this is where I would scale it down. Let's put it on this whale. And remember, it has to be in relation to this guy. And it's really far back there. So we just got to kind of keep in mind proportions. Put that right there. I want this to kind of bend with the whale. And then we'll do warp. So this is where I do warp because I want it to kind of bend with it. Just do that. And again, you don't have to control each one of these Bezier points. You could literally click right on it and push it up that way. But that's where it would just kind of make it kind of look just a little bit better, like it just bends around it. Okay? That works out well. Let's paint away with a nice blue. Actually, maybe with that darker color. Come on, Paul, do it. Get to painting. Because all I need is like a little shadow underneath. Right there, okay? Not only... there we go. Darken mode on that layer. B for brush. Go in here. What do I have this set to? Soft round pressure is going to give it more opacity. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Paint it. Work it. I don't know. Something like that. It's okay. Right? Now we got a little house. He's like, dude, I want to... Wait, I just bought that house. I don't know. Maybe he's like... Maybe he's in the market for a house on a whale. But again, this is just going to be something fantastic. Just for fun. Yeah, it kind of makes you think of the movie Up. Yeah. That is cool. Yeah, and that's how we've did a puppet warp on this whale. And then we did a regular warp transform on this house. Cool. Yeah, oh yeah, poor whale. So, good point, poor whale. How can we fix that? We can actually get even a little bit more minuscule, or detailed, minuscule. Let's get a little more detailed. He looks kind of sad. Can we bend up that corner? We do this a number of ways. Here's one way to do it. Command T will typically give you transform. Right click. go to warp. And in warp, you have these settings right up here. So you can say, hey, you know what? Start splitting it up. So that's what I would do. Start splitting it like right here. And boom. Maybe right down here. Boom. And then right there in the, maybe in the center like that. So what I did is I isolated these other areas. That's why I added these points. I said, hey, you know what? These will kind of lock down the outside area. Now I can take just this one part and bend it like that. So really I just need to kind of twist it like so, because we want to give them a little bit of a smile and not make it look so morbid, because I think that's what people were picking up on. Okay? So again, using warp transform, splitting it the way we want, have him maybe look a little bit more smiley. Like that is super fun. Right? He's happy, he likes it. What you don't know is how much this whale charges per house ride or something. So Celeste, you can watch anytime from the beginning. And I'd say that looks pretty cool. We could throw some fish in there. The same situation applies, right? Good thing I made this handy little folder, well, right? Flip those around, and maybe they're just kind of trailing the good old whales. And then you can also play with this school of fish as well. Right, this I'd probably just change this blend mode. Let's see if that gets us somewhere. Is it getting us anywhere, everybody? No. Anyways, this would take a little longer. What if I was just like, yeah, I don't want to do that. Bye. No. You can't run from your problems. Right? School of fish. Let's do what I remove background. That gets us part of the way there. Let's put it in this folder. Right, that's a little better. And then I'd make them, I'd drop the opacity down. Kind of like that. That deals with selections. That's another day. But this looks pretty good for the time we spent on it. Last thing I would do is play with maybe color lookups. So lookup tables. Apply the same color, and this is a great way to hide any mistakes, right? So again, we're talking, these are pro tips, man. I'm so happy you guys are here. I think this is too fun. Come on now. We could do a two-strip look. We'll just make it teal. It's a little dark, right? Let's do crisp winter, right? So again, just rolling through some of these. Maybe film stock. See, film stock kind of normalizes it. It might be a little washed out. We could always take down that opacity if we want to. But I kind of like that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Oh yeah, second band hammer. I don't think so. Not today. Save for web. Output this. 1,000 pixels. Make sure you congratulate yourself on another daily creative challenge and our final daily creative challenge for this series. They're all right in here. All the files are in here. All the videos, everything. And also tune in next week for Encore. Nonetheless, there that is. Drop it in Discord. Would love to see what you guys have to show off. But add your own spin to it, right? So those could be jellyfish, whatever. Do something different and exciting. Froja's too nice to me. Christine, I like where your head's at. I think we probably think the same. And yeah, more tips and tricks as well coming up pretty soon. Yeah. Worst case scenario, if there's ever a problem, your best thing to do is step away and then come back to it and say, okay, well, this was the problem. It just becomes very obvious when you actually stop working. So my advice sometimes is like, you know what? My advice with work is to stop working. So you guys get the idea. Turn these into little towns. We'll just kind of leave this screen up with this final one. And yeah, have fun with that. Thanks so much, everybody. Stay tuned. We have a Photoshop masterclass coming up next, and a full day full of masterclasses. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys in a second.